We have several important news stories to share about Tesla today with the Tesla team, Elon Musk and Robyn Denholm, chairperson of Tesla, making announcements. First, Robyn shared a letter encouraging shareholders to vote yes on Elon's compensation package and appeared on CNBC. In a bit of surprise, here she said Tesla is working on new vehicles. Okay. Second, Tesla has started to release full self-driving version 14.1.4 widely to everyone, and they announced their ride-hailing service in the Bay Area now services the San Jose Mineta Airport. We'll watch several videos showing how FSD is now smarter. Third, Tesla continues its hiring spree, now with positions for robotaxi operation managers in Orlando, Tampa, and Miami, Florida, plus many new Cybercab production facility roles. Fourth, Elon Musk announced Tesla's back at number one. As new reports show, the Model Y was Europe's best-selling car in September, back to number one for the first time in 9 months. Finally, President Trump just said he has a good relationship with Elon. He said a few very nice things. Looks like that relationship is back. We have Jeff Lutz here with us today. Jeff is the ex-CVP of Supply Chain and Chief Quality Officer. He's now CEO of his own supply chain consulting firm. Welcome, Jeff.
Wow, Herbert. There's so much going on with AI, vehicles, everything. So just a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is full self-driving and the vote and where that's going. So let's get started with FSD version 14. We've got, we'll start with Robyn Denholm because she was just on CNBC this morning. Elon shared this letter from the board chair of Tesla, Robyn Denholm. Tesla also forwarded the letter. Basically, they're reminding folks that this annual meeting is happening. It's going to come on November 6th. That's like a week and a bit away from now. And so Robyn Denholm sent a letter, and she's basically, promoting that people will vote yes on Elon's compensation package and how important that is. She said, as you know, Tesla is a critical inflection point. We need your vote to help determine the future direction of our evolving company. Do you want to retain Elon as Tesla's CEO and motivate him to drive Tesla to become the leading provider of autonomous solutions and the most valuable company in the world? This is one part of the letter. If we fail to foster an environment that motivates Elon to achieve great things through an equitable pay performance plan, we run the risk that he gives up his executive position. And Tesla may lose his time, talent, and vision, which have been essential to delivering extraordinary shareholder returns. When you go to votetesla.com, you will give you instructions on where to click and what to do. If you still have not voted, go there, and then you'll see how to vote properly. So I just want to play a little quick video when she was interviewed, and she mentions something about multiple vehicles that Elon's still working on.
Time on many different areas. On the earnings call, he even talked about the AI chips that he's been working on and the team are working on. Obviously, the software, we do have a few other vehicles coming out, so he spends time on that. He's spending time on everything across the board.
Is there anything new there, Jeff? Or are you concerned, or what's your thinking at this point?
Well, I think everybody should act on their shares. I know there's still people that haven't voted. I know a lot of the institutions haven't. People should act on their shares. People should look at what has been presented by the board and make the right decision for them. It's clear that Elon has set this up, and the board has set this up so that he is not compensated until the company experiences dramatic growth and achieves dramatic, just never seen before operational milestones in the business. No other company has achieved these milestones. So as they're being achieved, there's no other company that's there. So he's taking the company to places it hasn't been before. He's taking it to market capitalization that it hasn't ever achieved before. And the point I always make when the vote thing comes up, people again should vote how they feel, but people get caught up in the numbers, and you shouldn't get caught up in the numbers. You should get caught up in what is the market value for Elon's time. And when you understand the market, when you understand his other companies and where SpaceX is going, look at the trajectory of where SpaceX is going in terms of launches, in terms of vehicles, in terms of the capability, making life multiplanetary. Look at where Starlink is going. Starlink is going to a place that I think there's a lot more functionality coming that is just going to upend existing norms as it relates to communications. If you just look at what he's building at XAI and the capability there, this is the market value for his time. And this is where this compensation package formed. But don't get caught up on get caught up on the market value for his time. You want his time at Tesla creating Optimus, creating vehicles that don't crash and avoid life-changing events. 43,000 people are not going to have somebody at the dinner table this year because of cars are still crashing into each other. So I think you should just take this into context in terms of not only what it means for a company and a stock and a ticker, but actually what it means for humanity and the things that he's changing, he's involved in. That is the market value for his time. He doesn't get paid until he achieves the operational milestone, and the company grows, your stock value grows. So I think it's a pretty easy pitch. I hope the vote is as easy as the pitch.
Yep, I like that very much. Market value for his time. Jeff, what did you take from her comment that Elon's still working on multiple vehicles to come? People think that that's Cybercab, that's Roadster, that's Robovan, nothing really there. Or is there something there?
Well, we know there's the Robovan, we know there's Roadster coming, but typically when you kick off a new vehicle product family like Cybercab, Franz and the team are already looking at the next version. Is it a slightly larger version? Is there some variations that are needed on it? So he's going to be looking at that. So yeah, there's more vehicles coming for sure, because we're going to get into FSD. It just, once autonomy is solved, this robot AI, this robot on wheels is solved, you're going to want so many different variations of it on the road, because it's just unbelievable what it does.
Okay. We have a number of news to share now about what's happening with full self-driving. Tesla's been on fire. They've been dropping release after release. You received FSD version 14.1.4. I just got it this morning. So right after this, I'm going to go take it out for a ride. But prior to this, just this weekend, something happened to you as you were driving, right? On the highway, you posted this saying, FSD in your Cybertruck, there was potentially an accident, but FSD saved you. It's pretty incredible. I'm going to play a couple of the videos you shared that's coming out from your Cybertruck. So that car just hit something and then your Cybertruck stopped, and then this is the side view that you provide. Whoa.
Yeah, that car rear-ended that car and then spun itself in the middle of the lane. This is highway speeds, in Chicago area. That car spun out in front of me, and it's like FSD. When I saw the car fishtailing, FSD already started slowing down. Wow. The traffic in front started slowing. This is what happened. The reason that there was an accident is traffic was slowing on the highway, but this driver was not slowing. Must have been distracted, could have been looking at a phone or what have you, and just plowed into that car in front of it, and then spun out in front of me. And it's, I'm in the Cybertruck. It's a heavy car, and I didn't even feel the seatbelt tighten up. It just gracefully stopped right in front. I mean, there's not a scratch, and we didn't make any contact with the vehicle, but it certainly avoided that accident. And I posted another video below it. There was a Model Y to my right so my car had slightly swerved. The Model Y swerved around it as well. And typically, again, in highways with highway speed, when there's an accident and you see a car spinning out, cars tend to overcorrect in those situations. People don't know how to turn their cars at 50, 60 miles an hour. So cars tend to overcorrect. My Cybertruck did not overcorrect, and the Model Y next to me didn't as well. I think the way those two cars behaved prevented maybe a multi-car collision on the highway. Certainly saved us from an accident and saved the Tesla Model Y to the right. So it was a scary experience, but then after that, you just felt like, and again, I'm not saying this because whatever, I've been talking about the company for a long time. Just like, I don't know how you have another car without this technology. Yes, emergency braking exists in other vehicle platforms, but this started breaking before there was the object in front of me, and it almost like it saw the pattern that car was heading into, and again, this is a 2.5 ton vehicle, and it stopped gracefully.
Yeah, Waymo's LiDAR does not save it from these kinds of accidents. In fact, they've had many accidents since the beginning of this year exactly like this, where the car would come cut in front, because even with LiDAR, it doesn't have the intelligence to move fast. Collision avoidance is not, and then actually the LiDAR causes it to think longer, latency is longer, and so it doesn't react as fast as. You had access to version 14 and you went driving and you said this, I don't understand the thought process to buy another car. Yeah. Anywhere near the price range offered, Tesla is just, what was your experience so far?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's different cars at different, I don't want to be, if you can afford a Tesla, if you can afford the price range that Teslas are offered in, even get a used one, I can't, after experiencing V14, here are my takeaways. Yes, I know there are some of these minor artifacts of the new model, this little minor hesitation in braking, but it didn't change anything for me in terms of the overall experience. The overall experience going from V13 to this 14.1.4, first off, you get into this Mad Max mode, which you want to try immediately.
My
car pulled, it pulled confidently out of my garage. Typically it doesn't. Typically it tries to do a 3-point turn because there's some landscaping and some other things. It just pulled right out. No issue at all. Didn't, it was very smooth turn, pulled right off the driveway again. No, where there was hesitation in V13, it's gone. And so it's making unprotected lefts better. It just felt smarter and more human-like, but it was snappier, but it wasn't excessively snappy of like, oh my, like if I had a drink, it wasn't like flying all over the place. And you can always, with the scroll wheel, just take it down to Mad Max to hurry mode or to standard mode. They made it very easy. They changed the fonts. Everything looks very nice, crisp and clean. You can pick if your destination's a parking lot. People have seen this, so I don't have to explain it. But what it meant to me, it just reaffirmed. I ordered a new vehicle. I talked about it on the show, Cybercab last week, and it just reaffirmed to me that I don't know how, because I have thought about. Because now that you can have supercharging in other brands. I mean, I like the Rivian. I think Rivian makes a nice car. I was kind of looking at just the aesthetics of the Lucid Gravity, but it's a little bit too much of a minivan. Point is now that charging's solved, I was looking at those things, but I can't get away from self-driving. I can't pull myself to buy a car that doesn't have this capability. So if this is how I felt 3 or 4 years ago about charging, like there's no way I'm going to get another of these cars. There's nowhere to charge them. If I'm on a road trip, well, what's going to happen now with FSD? Are they going to solve it or not? Are they going to license it from Tesla? And because I don't know how, once they start doing test drives on Mad Max, I'm assuming FSD 14 is starting to be downloaded to the vehicles for test drive. It wasn't last week. When I test drove actually a Model X. So I'm assuming this version is coming down to the vehicles. And when people experience this, I don't know how other cars are going to be. I know it sounds hyperbolic, and I know people make different decisions. I don't like the interior, or I don't like this. But when I kind of put this mosaic together of my safety incidents and my accident avoidance that just occurred, which I've never had anything like that happen on the highway all my years with FSD, and that accident avoidance, and then my experience on version 14, when I kind of put that mosaic together, it made my choice of product, it made it very sharp. It made it very narrow. It's like there's no way I would buy another product. And I will say this, that I have another family member that has been traditionally non-EV that is also, I think, looking at this like, wow, this was an unbelievable experience.
Wait till they see price appreciation of these Teslas that could be used for robotaxi. Full self-driving is so clearly a differentiator. It's going to come. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of...
Herbert, I know we jumped to that too as we discussed these things. Oh, yes, prices are going to appreciate it. And I think that is going to happen. But what is happening now is my car's avoiding accidents, major accidents, and it drives itself perfectly. And I can go buy that today. You can go buy that today. If you're in the market, you're like, that is available today. And I know these other things are coming in the future. That's what we talk about on this show is like what could be coming in the future and trying to predict this stuff. But this stuff is available right now. It's really compelling.
I'm going to go through a number of news that just dropped about FSD. Let's go through them. So first of all, Tesla announced that the ride-hailing service in San Francisco Bay Area now goes to the San Jose Mineta Airport. Elon said you can now have a self-driving Tesla take you to San Jose Airport, and then they'll pick up and drop off at the terminals. This is the Bay Area now, and the San Jose Airport is now included. These are the terminal stops you can go to. So you select the drop-off point and the pickup point. So that's a thing we've been waiting for. I think Waymo does that as well, but still, it's how quickly that they add it. Brad Ferguson and Chuck Cook. Chuck obviously said there's a highlight clip of the Tesla 14.1.4 backing up at a stoplight to give room for a much larger truck. I can play that. This is going to be, so it's really getting closer to this intelligence. Let me play that right now. Here's a highlight clip.
Going to the right here. Okay, this is a big kind of arts district here. This place is called Cork. And look at that. The truck needed more room. Awesome. That was really good. That was very reactive. I was sitting there going to say, what are you going to do? It gave room to the truck at a stoplight.
That's pretty cool. Kevin said FSD 14 can recognize people's gestures, indicating they're about to leave a busy parking lot at Costco. Again, we need to at 13 used to be able to do this, but so this car kind of knew that he is going to get in his car to take his car out of there, and so the FSD version 14 waited until the car is out. It's hard to know if it really is doing that, but this is the kind of things that are happening. And then,
Elon said reasoning is coming in 14.3. Yeah. There could be stuff that they're trying, right now that's just not, instantiated or not, fully approved, but they're just trying it. So yeah, it's coming.
A lot of this is coming. Here's another one similar to yours. I think FSD did the most aggressive swerve while on the highway into the lane beside me. I was startled. Then all of a sudden, a massive construction barrel flies through. There's the construction barrel. So, he didn't see it. It was very fast. And that's similar to what you're saying is collision avoidance very, very quickly. And then to remind people, this is what Elon said. He said that version 14 goes into early wide release next week. This was in late September. 14.1, about 2 weeks, and then 14.2. They've reiterated that once it gets to 14.2, it will feel almost sentient. Right now, we're 14.1.4. Brent Winton, ARK Invest, he is impressed with version 14. He thinks it's more precise, intentional than 13, kind of like driving a sport-tuned car. And then this is a great chart you wanted to share. I don't see anybody being able to compete with Tesla scale. Robotaxi fleet is growing. Here's Waymo way ahead in active number of cars and announced fleet targets. But what did you want to say about this chart?
This is just going to get overwhelmed. They're going to need a new chart with a bar
x-axis
with a scale that x-axis scale that goes out pretty far. And this goes back to the system architecture, how it's designed. It is designed for value. It was designed for scale. It was designed to be able to be dropped in multiple countries instantly. And yes, there's regulatory. Yes, there's work to do. Yes, sometimes we come on these shows, we get excited always about the newest and latest version of FSD. I'm sure if you watched a show a year ago in November, we were getting excited about version 13 because these were all big jumps in things that didn't exist beforehand. And then, of course, we see the warts, we see the things that aren't good. We find some of the problems, but those outliers are getting fewer and fewer and fewer. I did experience just on my few drives railroad track crossings, and the light was green. In the railroad track crossing, lights started flashing. The bar started moving. The car slowed perfectly down, knowing that there was a green light in front, but there was the bars were coming down, And even before the bar started coming down, the car slowed and then stopped. So I can see it. And this is, of course, it has to do that. Of course, these things have to be solved for it to go unsupervised. And I'm seeing that. I've seen it. It's behaving a little bit differently around construction areas. It's slowing. And it's also starting to render things that I didn't see before in construction areas. So to me, this is what I was looking for in version 14. I wanted use cases solved between where we were in 13 and what unsupervised would mean. Like get in the back seat and let your car drive you. And it's really getting there. Of course, I haven't driven it enough to know if all the use cases have been solved for, but I had no reason to to take over on any of my drives so far. And again, this really feels special, and I'm looking forward to the 14.2, obviously. And I think this is a breakthrough for sure.
Yeah. I mean, those examples you just listed, they show that intelligence matters more than extra sensors. And again, anyway, I think it's enough for us to talk about LiDAR anymore. That is done. It's about intelligence now, and we need to hear more about the edge cases that you're looking for. Once, these are being knocked off, like the railroad one or the McDonald's one or the toll booth one or the construction and, and pedestrian intent, all those kind of things. We love to look at new hirings, and there's quite a bit of new information to share here. Looks like that Tesla's hiring robotaxi operations managers in Orlando, Tampa, and Miami, Florida. Robotaxi operations managers. That's an interesting title. I'll ask you about that. And then there's this, Cybercab facilities roles, a lot of them, to operate one of the largest, most sophisticated manufacturing facilities in the world. So this Cybercab, Jeff, could they like take over, I don't know, let's say Giga Texas. I mean, they said the largest and most sophisticated manufacturing facilities in the world. Maybe they're just talking about the whole thing, but this is Cybercab's facilities managers. Is there a separate facility?
When I just look at the overall hiring I'm seeing from Tesla, I look at the volume of recs, I looked at requisitions, I look at the type of requisitions. This is a company that is growing AI assets and growing the hardware assets that physical real world AI can run on. And you're either in retrenchment mode or you're in growth mode. And they're clearly in invest and grow mode. I know people saw the operating margin and they saw some of the R&D expense in Q3 and they're, clutching their pearls. This is a company that has fundamentally figured out self-driving, and they are now going to take that and grow and invest. When those requisitions go live, before they're even hired, finance has to allocate for those things. So from an accounting perspective, they are in full-on growth mode. They're not. My concern coming out of Q3 was, are they going to be able to articulate a path of the current business throwing off enough cash, solid gross margins to connect to the future business being robots on wheels, bipedal robots, Optimus. And it's clear that they can. It's clear that they absolutely can do that with a 41.6 billion cash hoard. Puts you in an unbelievable position. And this is something that it doesn't get discussed enough. And people are talking about, well, Tesla's at 1.7x million units, and everybody's kind of like talking under their breath, and how are they ever going to grow? Look at what all the other car companies are announcing. They're pulling their announcements back. They're pulling their capacity back. And the reason is it's not that they couldn't get the volume of cars to sell. They could push through a lot of inventory and sell cars. It's the unit economics didn't work. It wasn't profitable for them. The more they shipped to meet certain government standards, the more money they lost. But they knew if they didn't do that, they would be writing another check of equivalent size, to the government for CAFE standards or what have. So they applied capacity toward it. They were, tipping a hat to the current. By the way, they got them a lot of grant money and a lot of loan money from the Department of Energy as well. So a little bit of a game being played. The profitability wasn't there. But what I don't hear people talking about is all these companies are pulling back capacity. And the tariffs are still on. And 4 of the top 10 EVs in the US, at least, that are non-Teslas were made in Mexico. And so those things have the tariffs on, and they're not going to work. The economics just aren't going to work. They can't just magically move them to the US either, because the components are in Mexico. And the economics of doing the assembly, manual assembly up here, going from $6 an hour in Mexico to $50 an hour in the US is not going to work. So what I don't hear people talking about is, where's that volume going to go? Are people just not going to buy EVs? That's an interesting bet to make. It grew over 10% adoption in the US. In China, it's well over 50, and it's runaway. The search trends in China just are basically Tesla and Xiaomi, and Tesla's really distinguished itself now there. We've seen this. We're going to talk about Europe in a minute. I don't hear people talking about the void that the other vendors, OEMs, are going to leave, and people just aren't going to walk away from EVs. They're a better car. They function better. It's easier. You don't have to go to gas stations and deal with all that. And if they can be made economically, they're a better total cost of ownership to own. So I just don't hear people talking about that enough. And I mean, let's get into some more of the other news, but no. I think their vehicle business is going to get really healthy here really quickly. And when you overlay what's happening with FSD 14 and the awareness of that growing, again, I don't know how you get in this car, go to a Tesla showroom and drive this, even a Model 3 Standard or any of these different vehicles, and not walk away saying, I got to have this.
Yeah. You're right. Q3 was an amazing quarter. If you look at it from the perspective that Tesla was able to show cash generated, funded R&D, and all these expansions. That's the killer thing, because the most important thing is still having that unit economics you keep talking about. We've got new roles that we talked about. For every new city Tesla plans to launch, Tesla Yoda pointed out that robotaxi, it hires the following key roles: autopilot data collection supervisor, autopilot or robotaxi vehicle operator, robotaxi field response specialist, fleet support specialist, fleet support supervisor, and operations manager. The operation manager role typically appears last, signaling that the service is nearing launch. Thank you, Yoda. He follows the hiring very closely, but as you were saying, this is signal. This is signal you've mentioned before, right? Because
foot on the accelerator. Yep.
Yeah, what you've done is, because you run businesses like this, when you as a business leader starts hiring people, that's something you can't ignore in terms of that signal of what the company is about to do. Elon, very, very excited. He said Tesla's back at number 1. There's new reports that the Model Y was Europe's best-selling car in September. That returns to the number 1 slot for the first time in 9 months. And they rebound to win September sales race. Renault, Dacia round up top 3. So I'm not going to go through the whole list here, but the Model Y, fourth model to finish a month at number 1 this year. So I don't know if this is temporary or if it's basically means this is it for the next rest of the year and back. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I posted under this, and it was...
Yeah, I saw your post.
I remember being told that, when Model Y sales were diving in Europe, that... Yep. And even as I'm checking inventory, and there's no new Model Ys in inventory. I'm pulling it up. It's the old Model Ys. Oh no, they're being hidden. Really? Oh yeah, they're there. You just can't see them. People just literally making stuff up. What's happening here is this isn't magic. Okay, for the fact that the Model Y returned to being the number 1 selling vehicle, it takes a long time to clear a channel of a product that was there for 5 years, and to layer in the new product across all the different points of distribution all over Europe. So did some cities have some inventory in May and June and July? Of course they did, but it wasn't at full inventory in Q2. The first quarter where they probably got the full inventory was Q3. Now, being critical, as an operations person, you'd like to figure out on the next set of launches how you can do that faster. I think it can be done faster. I'm not smarter than Tesla, but I think Tesla always thinks that they can get better too every time they launch a vehicle. So I'm sure Tesla would have liked to have been in distribution faster. But the fact that people were like, "Oh, it's the third month of the quarter. It's a delivery wave." Well, there was a delivery wave in June too, and it wasn't the number one selling car in Europe. So to me, it got into full distribution. And of course, there's some delivery wave. People like the car. That's what's happening. All the Chinese cars are flooding in. They're 10 to 20% cheaper. They're buying Teslas, and so I just think this whole thing of you have to really understand how product launches occur and what time is needed and what's involved, and not get overly. And by the way, I'm not like there shouldn't be some massive celebration about September alone. They've got to continue to have these good months and print it. I just don't think 1 month of sales is represented. But man, the media just went off, and every single month, every single country. Oh my God, Sweden, Tesla in June, it's the end of the world. And meanwhile, it's returning, to its number one status in Europe because it's a great car.
Yeah, I was there with you, and people should be watching the show, listening to you. You were the sole voice that was saying this because of your experience. You were saying that when they transitioned to the new Model Y, the revised Model Y, and they shut down these factories, people are expecting, oh no, nobody's buying these cars anymore. Model Y is falling off the cliff. They expected that every city in Europe was, impacted by the brand damage. Logical. You're saying, you think that's actually not so much brand damage. It's more that they just haven't brought the car to these countries. And there was a backlog. And you knew that because you went into each of these sales websites and European zip codes, and you were saying, hey, there's no inventory. So how can you sell a car if there's no inventory? That's a telltale for you, but media ignored what you were saying. So
Tesla has two channels. They have two channels of selling product. You can build to order, and it's up here. You can build to order, or you can get a vehicle, or they build to stock and inventory that's in the sales channel. Next year, there'll be a third channel introduced. That'll be robotaxi. I believe there'll be a robotaxi channel where Tesla will build to a fleet of robotaxis. But not to confuse people, there's two channels. There's build to order, and then you can buy a car out of inventory. A lot of people buy cars out of inventory. They just they get on a whim, I want to buy a new car. My car just broke down. I need to get a car. And typically people drive that connection within 1 to 4 days. And you got to have stock. You have to have inventory, or people just move on to whatever's in inventory. Yeah. So you have the post here. It takes time. And again, arguably it took too much time.
Too long.
But the fact that Tesla is the number one selling vehicle again, and it's still Elon running the company. He hasn't changed his politics at all. I mean, is he photographed every day in the White House? No, but there's no change in that. It just shows that people will buy the best product if it's available at the right price and in inventory, period.
Well, we had to keep arguing with so many people in the last months about brand damage. Yes, there was some, but not as much as everybody thought. Okay, so Giga Shanghai has reached full production capacity with Model Y L output approximately 2,500 units per week. That's the latest rumor. And then Trump's relationship with Musk is good. He was interviewed today. He said that the relationship is good, and that while he's spoken to Elon very little since the memorial, Charlie Kirk's memorial, he described him as a nice guy and very capable. He had a bad moment in his life, but I like Elon, and I expect I always will. These are great comments to make sure that these two relationship between them is better. Let's listen to that.
How's your relationship with Elon these days? And is there
I think it's good. I mean, you saw that during Charlie's beautiful tribute. Elon came up. It's good with Elon. I like Elon. I've always liked Elon. Elon's good.
Have you talked to him since the memorial?
On and off a little bit. Yeah, very little. Nothing much. Look, he's a nice guy, and he's a very capable guy. I've always liked him. He had a bad spell. He had a bad period. He had a bad moment. It was a stupid moment in his life. Very stupid. I'm sure he'd tell you that. But I like Elon, and I suspect I'll always like him.
Well, that's very nice to hear. I'm sorry the volume was very low, but that's what we had. Thoughts on that?
It's the way that those two can only speak of one another in a stupid moment, a very stupid moment, I'm sure I'll tell you. And then you have Elon, going back or not really back and forth, going forth with the current Secretary of Transportation with the nicknames very similar to how the president does nicknames. So I actually don't think the president has too much of a problem with that, to be honest with you. Of course, he probably want to defend his cabinet, but at the same time, if there's probably something to be resolved, that's how he gets after it typically. So we'll see how things play out, but everything is generally trending in a positive direction in this relationship. And my guess is they'll be working together for the midterms. Again, I would say between now and a year from now, the existence of AI on the ballot and what's going to happen with regulation, both with vehicles, autonomy, and humanoids, it's going to be very important. I know a lot of shareholders don't want to hear this, but it's going to be very important for Elon to stay close to the political world, given, this is GDP changing for the world, what he's doing with autonomy. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be very close. It's going to be very important that he's close, because there's going to be job displacement. There's going to be all kinds of public relations that are going to be needed between his private companies and the government for how to manage these transitions. And his companies are going to be at the forefront of it. So it's important to have this relationship. It also looks like there's more positive commentary coming from the other side of the aisle as well. There's more recognition of like, hey, we probably shouldn't have had an EV summit and not invited the person that made EVs mainstream, right, essentially, and had the number one selling EV company in the world. We probably should have invited that person. So I think the other side, there's a realization. So I think people need to separate. Is you'll see the name calling, you'll see the vitriolic thing, and that's what's happening at these super high levels politically, private companies, and so forth. I know it looks like they're never going to get together. They're never going to work. They will work together. And Elon's ideas, I don't think, are agnostic to one political party. His ideas are a little bit more center in some respects, and he has ideas that can go, I think, it straddle both sides of the aisle. But there was a clear decision for him in this last election. But I think Elon's political standing with both parties has improved in the last 3 months, dramatically.
Great commentary from Jeff Lutz. Appreciate you so much. Basically, take a look what happened today. Lots of signal, lots of really good things that happened. Most important is the FSD progress. The thing that's concerning is what's going to happen at the November 6th shareholder meeting. Robyn Denholm is out, so let's not pull our foot off the accelerator. Yeah. We've got to vote. Please vote. That could be the one big thing that could impact Tesla very much. A lot of good things happening. And this is why you need to follow Jeff. He has been calling it his knowledge about inventory and production and manufacturing and everything, including political things. Very good, insightful. Follow him on his X account at the Jeff Lutz. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.